All right, Jandel, I am so sorry for the technical problems, but obviously something's changed. It's different and it doesn't work the way it used to. And I apologize to everyone for that. But let's get started right in on it. So
Yeah.
this is Jandel Crutchfield. She is running for school board with MISD. And I want to remind everybody that we do things in a series of three. So today is all about getting to know who you are, Jandel. And then at the candidate forum, we're going to go a little bit deeper on the issues. And then when we have our chamber business luncheon, we're actually going to have a conversation. We're going to let the audience get engaged with you. And so, yes, so this is an unfolding as you will. So my very first question for you is, what inspired you to run for school board, and who has been your biggest influence in that decision?
Wow, that's a big question. So I want to start just by thanking you, Lori. First, I guess, for the grit, right? Like making sure we can figure out how to get this done. So I think that's amazing. I also, as I've been walking neighborhoods and knocking doors, I realized that in the 20 minutes we're going to share together, we'll be able to reach thousands of people. So I appreciate you for helping me scale the message to everybody. So thanks for that. But yeah, I think it's pretty simple for me why I want to run for school board. I think Mansfield ISD is a great place to live, learn, and teach. And I want to make sure that that excellence extends to every corner of the district, every zip code, every school, every student, every staff. And so I have been blessed to be in the districts up close to look at it from a parent perspective, from a volunteer perspective. And so I know the excellence that exists. And I think as we grow, we've got to make sure that everybody gets to experience that. And so in terms of inspiration, there are lots of inspirations out there for being a trailblazer, right? And so I think if I'm elected, I will be the first social worker on the board. And so somebody has to correct me if that history is not right, right? And so being the first, being out there, it's Women's History Month. And so I think of my mom. There's a picture that we share. It's like a 4x6 when you had to print out the pictures of her. And there's about 40 different managers for this department store called Mervyn's. You remember Mervyn's?
Yeah, oh
Laura?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Open, open, open.
it's all of the managers of the different stores across Georgia, all these places, 40 people. She's the only woman. And so this is before the internet, before this would have gone viral or we would be able to share it. And so in my own life and in my own family, I've had women like my mom who have stepped up, who haven't been afraid of a challenge, who wanted to invest in the world to make it better. And so she's definitely been an inspiration, but there's been lots. I'm a social worker by profession. And so I have some social work heroes as well. I'm a big fangirl of a woman named Ida B. Wells Barnett. She took care of her siblings at age 14 when her parents died of a pandemic, became a teacher at 16, went on to become a social worker later, and is well known as one of the founders of the NAACP. So I think investing in others is something that I've seen. And so it's definitely something I want to continue to do for a district that has been amazing since we've been here.
Okay. All right. What's the most significant challenge that you've faced in your personal or professional life, and how did you overcome it?
Wow, that's a good question. So personally, I'll share a personal one. My son, JC, is a sixth grader at MISD. He turned 12 last Thursday, a week ago. But he is what's known as a rainbow baby. And so a rainbow baby means a baby that is born after the loss of another baby. And so our first pregnancy in my marriage ended in miscarriage. And so we called that baby Blueberry. The baby was never born. And so my mom is the youngest of 9. So that first baby was going to be the first grandchild, right? The first child born, the first nephew. She has nieces and nephews that had grandkids already. So everybody, right? The anticipation is there. And to lose that baby was definitely probably one of the hardest things that I personally, as a mom, has experienced, but also as a family. We really struggled through that process. But like what we have in this community, people rallied around us, from family, friends, church. And so that's the only way, right, that I can be who I am, is because of the support system that I have. And so I realized that. And now we have a beautiful 12-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. And so I'm blessed in that way, to be able to come through that. But we always remember Blueberry and think about her, him, whoever she might have been.
Okay. What core values do you have that guide your decision making?
Good one. So one of my core values is family. And so I just talked about an example of why family is so important to me. But strong families, I think, create strong communities and then and strong school districts, right? And so I think for me, investing in my own family is a hallmark of what I've done. And so I understand that families go through challenges, that families need support. And so as a school board member, really, you are investing in the families of your school district. And so that vision of, hey, all the families that attend school in MISD, they belong. And so we want to make sure that we're there to support them in that. So family is one. Social work as a profession has a lot of core values that I see that could benefit me as a school board member and that I actually personally hold. One of those is integrity, right? And so who I am right now before you is who I need to be when I'm in closed doors talking about the decisions that will impact you as a student, as a staff member, as a community member. I need to be that same person. And so for me personally, what you see is what you get. In terms of integrity, so I'm not going to be saying something to get money from donors over here, and then saying something different when I'm talking to the teachers that I'm supposed to be supporting there. I think dignity and worth of people is another core value that I have. And so even though we might not agree on something, I value you as a human being. And so I think our humanity is tied together. And so I always try to, whatever the difficult outcome there may be that we have to get to or get through, to make sure that I still value you in the process. And so that's a few ways that I think those core values would help me lead as a board member.
Okay. Do you have any hobbies or anything outside of work that that you feel enrich you in how you go about this new perspective of potentially being a school board member?
Yeah, so it is going to be on repeat. And so I think I've already said the word family. So, we really do enjoy each other. And so a lot of my time outside of work or outside of volunteering is family. Like, it's fun to see these kids grow up. It's fun to invest in, what my husband's doing or my sister who travels all around the world. We like to, obviously, probably lots of family members have those 20-person group chats, right? And so we like to see what's happening with the family. And so that's a lot of my extra time. At our own house, we have Saturday night movie nights. And so we rotate who gets to pick the movie, youngest to oldest. I don't know why my daughter seems like she gets to pick every week almost. I don't know how that happens, but she's the baby. But we try to get
She's the baby.
Probably so.
Yeah.
She's like, let's start over again. It's my turn. Yeah. And so, last Saturday we watched Trolls Band together. And so popcorn, cookies. And again, as a family member, what do you enjoy? And let us enjoy that with you as a family. And so it's fun to see what everybody's going to pick each week. My husband and I have obviously the Netflix, Hulu time, right? That we get to watch these shows. We're on the 20,000th season of Law and Order, like everybody else is. And so, the crime shows, Chicago PD, all of this stuff. And the only thing with that is I've been a little disappointed in the fact that those are not necessarily real life, those cop shows, according to the police in Mansfield, right? They're saying it's not really real. So we have that time together. For me, though, I think I like music. I like dance. I like performance. And so I'll go to concerts. Recently I was at the performance, I think it's Legacy High, that did Mamma Mia. And so almost like a Broadway play, but they're teenagers. And so for me, music is that language. I think that joins us all and that cuts across a lot of the divides that we have. So I have a really eclectic taste in music. So you might hear, Selena or Al Green or, Bob Marley, all of this, right? And I'm definitely probably the person in traffic that's dancing to music. And I think in terms of related to school board and school in the school district, there's even this song that's going around now. And I heard Legacy High School perform at their choir live. And then all of a sudden there's this amazing gathering of all of the high school choirs together. And so the song, and I will not sing it because then people will probably not vote for me based on my voice, right? So one voice can make a difference, two can make a change. Many voices start a movement moving towards a bright new day. I think those are the lyrics. And so it is literally the song of the district. And so that keeps me motivated on the journey, right? So in a journey like this, where there's ups and downs, you're working through challenges, and that's what you would be dealing with as a board member. I'm encouraged by music as a language. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that song. What is your vision? What do you see when you look at MISD and you have that song in your head? What does that mean to you in relation to MISD and the role that you would play in school board?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think the theme of this year is stronger together, and that's what that song symbolizes to me. Is when we are siloed, right? So one high school choir versus the other, et cetera. But the melody, literally the harmony of all of those voices being together is where the strength lies. And so in my own professional background as a social worker, I was the person in schools that helped to fill the gaps. So teachers have a lot to do, leaders have a lot to do, students, parents, everybody. And so being the person that can help build coalitions, so build the voices together to be able to help students meet their goals, that literally was my job. And so that might involve bringing in community resources, bringing in business resources. And so I've done that for families in schools. And so I would love to be able to work with board members, with district staff, with leaders in MISD to be able to do the same thing. So to fill those gaps and to band us together.
Okay. All right. Well, that finishes this. And then the next time will be the candidate forum. And we'll talk about some of the issues pressing school board at that meeting. And then again, like I said, at the Chamber Business Luncheon. But thank you so much for the time, and thank you for your patience with this. And I will turn around and get this on Facebook Live. I'll upload it as a video so that happens. But thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I have to also just give Frederick Ledette, my cousin, a shout out because that's what he wanted me to do. So
okay, check the box. Done.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Happy spring break, everybody.